The cost of the Vietnam War in environmental terms was very high. Chemical weapons caused destruction in the habitat of many animals. Millions of hectares of forest were lost during the war. In addition, water was contaminated by toxic liquids. In other words, there was not safe water for children. The land was burned and all crops of vegetables and fruits were lost. In fact, many people died of hunger. On the other hand, by the end of the war, approximately 60% of the air was contaminated with carbon and heavy metals. For this reason, the ozone layer has a large hole. The country suffered greatly and its destruction was unavoidable, so it was very difficult to recover environmental resources. I hope this has been a reflection of all of us to take care of the environment. Remember, this is our planet and we must protect it.
As you know, Vietnam War was an unprecedented brutal conflict because its political implications which involved everyone over the world. On the side of the United States, the participation of American soldiers with the objective to take place in the war could only bring discredit. I mean, the fact that these countries sent their soldiers to fight in a war which wasn't theirs allowed many people from around the globe to get a realistic picture about the United States. Even after the war, on the other side of the world, people still conceive a cruel image with regard to the participation of American armies. So, by this way, United States suffered a feeling of defeat and a disgraceful situation, which prevented his expansion and his attempts to eliminate communism.
Economically, Vietnam War brought several problems to the United States. In first place, there was a big demand of weapons and equipment. This because of all the people that were being sent to fight to the enemy country. All factories started producing military items and forgetting to the customer with the creation of goods or products for them. So, once this problem was known, a big controversy started from all the North American citizens. This struggle was caused as these people were living in an epoch far away from the economical problems overcome on a Great Depression. As a second point, the government's military spending contributed to have a big imbalance on the economy of the USA, this due to the lack of payments that were in the country. Of course, this was a big problem for the governments and the companies active at the moment. In addition to this, the inflation of the country increased due to the high prices for goods and services and the poor quantity of money belonging to the citizens. So, despite the success of the economic policies from the next presidents, the Vietnam War was a critical point that brought down the economy of the United States of America.
There are so many consequences after the Vietnam War. One of them is the drugs. It's because it was really easy to get these drugs. The soldiers became addicted to the drugs. They took the drugs to deal with the stress. The marijuana was the drug of choice. This drug was easily grown throughout the region. Soldiers wanted to take their mind off the war. Also, the children sold heroin to the American soldiers. Other drugs were opium and morphine. And there is a curious date that in the Vietnam War didn't have laws providing the drugs, and the marijuana could be smoked into the gas. We are going to see more consequences about the Vietnam War in the United States. Opposition to the spread of war inside and outside the United States among young people being one of the causes of the movement against the system, creating the hippie movement. The war of the hundreds of Miami soldiers, drug addicts, and affected by the Orange Agent used during the war. USA universities were a stage of protest demonstrations against USA involvement in this war. There was Vietnam Syndrome, in which the United States lost its spirit of liberation and victory. Finally, thousands of disabled, impotent, paralyzed, and mentally disturbed.